Hello and welcome to another episode of Wednesdays with WV. This is episode number 53. On this particular episode, I'm going to be talking to somebody who's seen it all, both on the field and off it. Off it, he's had to contend with a lot of issues, but he's overcome them with steely resolve. And on the field, he's always been an entertaining batter to watch. He's been a part of the 2007 World Cup winning side and also is being a superstar as far as the IPL is concerned. And he's also part of the Karnataka side, which won just about any and every tournament that they participated a few years ago. And I'm talking about Robin Uthappa, the sensational and scintillating opener from Karnataka. Hi, Robin. How are you doing? All well?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. Now, you're one who's played from the junior ranks as well, and it's different playing at different levels, but the joy of playing cricket at the under 19 level is unmatchable, isn't it?
It is an exciting time to play cricket, to be very honest, because you're at the cusp of discovering if you're ready for the big stage, and if you have the stuff that it'll take to excel at the highest level. So it can be nerve-wracking, but at the same time, very, very exciting as well.
What kind of a run did you have at the junior level?
A very good one, actually. In fact, my first tryst with, say, junior cricket at the highest level was the under 15 World Cup selections that I was called for. I must have been 13 or 14 years old. I went there as a nice little round kid from Bangalore. The first time I met Irfan Pathan, Raidu, and a lot of the other youngsters who came for the selections. And Irfan made it to the Raidu and Irfan made it to the under 15 World Cup 11 the team, and Roger Binney, I think, was the coach of that side. And I was obviously I wasn't picked in that one, but that was my first thrust, and then with that I kind of understood. Okay, at this level, it was very different for me because I'd only played. I was like one of those prodigies from Bangalore who was really good at school level cricket, under 14, and say South Zone level state cricket. So it gave me an insight as to what it takes to be there at that level, at the all India level, right? And then it made me feel like, okay, there are certain aspects I really need to improve on. I need to get fitter. I need to get healthier. I need to start playing bowling that's a lot quicker to me, so that I'm prepared for it the next time it comes around. And the next time it came around for me was a few years later. The under 17 India selections came up. I was doing pretty well by then at the under 16 level. I'd just played, say, one or two first class one-day matches, and I'd done fairly well. Um, Again, I think I was the youngest to play for Karnataka at the first class level. By 16, I'd made my debut. So people just started noticing me at the next level. And then I got a chance to play. I was never selected for any of the under 16 NCAs, South Zone NCAs, none of that. For some reason, I never made the cut. But as a local player in the NCA happening in Bangalore, there was an under 19 NCA happening in Bangalore. And they had, and I was in we had the Karnataka State Academy going on there, which was basically set up by Makran Vaingankar. So Max sir, because I was in the academy and I was part of the academy and I was one of the best guys in the academy there was an under 19 NCA match happening, the overall under 19 NCA match happening. And then they asked me to come and play that match as a local player. They wanted one or two local players to come. So they invited me to play the match. Luckily for me, I had Dilip Benzerkar, who was the under 19 chief selector that time, watching that game. So he saw me bat, and I was again 16 and I got 15 and I got about 88 or 90 or something in that game against the under 19 NCA boys, and he was very impressed. I had, unbeknownst to me, there was an under 17 Asia Cup selection happening in Bangalore itself a week or two later. So because he saw me perform so well, he said, send him for the under 17 selections. So I went for the under 17 selections, and there again, the likes of RP Singh, Suresh Raina, Raidu, Piyush Chawla, Shivakant Shukla, Ravikant Shukla, all of these guys are all part of that group. So went in there for the selections. I did well again, and then got picked for the under 17 Asia Cup side that was going to be played in Dambulla in Sri Lanka in 2003. And
were
then
you
that's
also
when
a keeper at that stage? Were you a keeper as well then?
I was a reserve wicket keeper, so I could keep. And in school cricket, I'd kept all through school cricket. I was a wicket keeper batter. So I kept. But when I played for state for Karnataka, I was more of a backup keeper, not considered a keeper. But then under 16 cricket, the last time when I was 14 and I played 16, under 16 cricket, I kept, batted and captain for Karnataka. And I was always considered a backup keeper, someone who would keep.
There are a couple of strange things in your career that I find fascinating, because very early in your career, you are pigeonholed as a white ball specialist.
Yeah.
How and why did this happen?
That's a long story. So I'm quite the storyteller, I'll tell you that much. I can go on with stories.
No,
So
but
I think
that has not happened in many cases. It's only
no, it
after
hasn't.
quite a while it has happened. In your case, it's happened far too early, as I see it.
Yeah, it happened very early for me. In fact, I was actually narrating the story to one of my friends yesterday, where I was dropped from the Karnataka Ranji Trophy team for playing a reverse sweep and getting out in an under 19 state match. I was dropped from the Ranji Trophy team. And this is in 2004 5, you know.
I
Uh,
think this will take too long a time to discuss and go through the story. I think, Robin, I think I can get the gist of it.
So the gist of it is, I think I was slightly ahead of the curve, and people never understood why I was playing as aggressively I was playing. And for whatever reason, I would approach the game from a very aggressive point of view, and I enjoyed playing it aggressively, and I enjoyed dominating the attacks. So even say in my under 14 or junior years, I was always considered, or there was always these situations where people would say, "Oh, he's overaged." But when the bone testing happened, it proved I wasn't. I just was slightly ahead of the curve in that sense. And immediately when I played at the highest level, or say I played at the under 17 India level, under 19 India level, I was always pegged as a white ball player because I played aggressively. And not a lot of players at that point played aggressively. You still had traditional one-day cricket being played. And the only one who played slightly differently was Virubai. And even the youngsters coming up through the ranks like a Gotti, or at that point, say a Gautam Gambhir and all that, were a little bit more traditional, but with the finesse or the charisma to be able to play aggressively. But I came out there and played aggressively out and out. So, which they kind of pigeonholed me into saying, okay, this fellow's a white ball cricketer. Because even red ball cricket, I played that way. And then, it wasn't like appreciated at that point in time.
Yeah, then you made rapid strides. Obviously, you scaled the ladder, and then that phase between 2006 to 8 was a dream
Yeah.
run, isn't it?
Was a crazy run. And to be able to, I think at that age, to be able to play with the likes of, or play for India with the likes of, say, Saurav Ganguly, Virender Sehwag, Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Gautam Gambhir, and to find a spot in that top three itself, I think was a dream come true for me. And today, when I look back at it, I consider myself extremely lucky, and as a matter of pride that I was able to achieve that, given the kind of names that Indian cricket had. At that point in time, and they were at the peak of their careers at that point in time. Gotti was at the nascent stage of his career, but the rest of them were at the peak of their careers.
We'll
And
take it
to
one
be,
by one. Now, let's go to that 2007 World Cup. You must have been
yes,
excited. You must have been having a lot of expectations. Unfortunately, things didn't go the way people expected. Now, that is something which will always linger, unfortunately, regardless of what
yes,
India achieves in cricket, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. That will be one of those moments in time in Indian cricket that would be like one of the lowest points of Indian cricket. But I think a lot of it kind of led to that. A lot happened within the group, people managing the group, it kind of was going to end up and culminate in something like that, for anyone to stand up and take notice that this doesn't work here in Indian cricket. There is a way that Indian cricket works, and then it showed us, when Gary came in and started managing the side, and he found out as a foreigner what's the best way to kind of function within the Indian mindset and our ecosystem. And he got the best out of the players, and was truly a servant to Indian cricket, I would say, and kind of found out the niche that a lot of other people weren't able to find out, with Indian cricket being a foreigner. Having
You
said
were
that, that also
fortunate.
works.
You were fortunate in that immediately you had a chance, along with a lot of youngsters, to make amends in the T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
Did that triumph push this back a little bit? The 2007 West Indies debacle?
To a certain extent, but we were very cognizant also to the fact that this achievement was only as far as T20 cricket was concerned. We didn't know to what extent T20 cricket would impact our future at that point in time, right? So we knew we'd won a World Cup, and the enormity of that achievement only hit us when we landed in India. To win a World Cup after 1983 was tremendous, and I think the enormity of it hit us only after we reached India, from South Africa. But that void, or that hole that 2007 World Cup created, and we knew that needed to be filled. And we knew, I think, as a group, as a young group, we knew that we had to fill that void at some point. And I think the opportunity came up for us in 2008 in Australia, because I think that was a very pivotal time for Indian cricket, or Indian white ball cricket for that matter. Because after 1985, no one had ever won a championship or a tournament in Australian white ball cricket. So we knew that was, when we went into that 3-match final against Australia, we knew that we were at the cusp of creating history that would change Indian cricket for the better. And to be able to be a part of that group and a contributing part of that group was, I think, is something that I take a lot of pride in. Because I think that changed for us. It changed our belief systems. It changed what we could conceive in our mind we are capable of as a white ball unit. And for me, that was pivotal for me in Indian cricket.
Would you consider that knock in England in the NatWest as your most cherished knock, or there's something else that you consider the best?
No, I wouldn't say the most cherished knock. I would certainly consider it special, very, very special. But there have been other knocks that have not necessarily been, not necessarily been in the limelight, on the spotlight, that have meant a lot more to me. For example, the CB series in 2008, are we just talking about? Paji and I got to open. I batted from number 1 to number 8 in that CB series. In a matter of 12 matches, I batted from number 1 to number 8. But in that finals, I got to open the batting with Paji. And in both those finals, Paji and I put up, I think both were 95 plus run partnerships for the opening wicket, which kind of set us up to win those finals. For me, those also mean a lot to me. My 50 in my T20I debut against Pakistan in the World Cup meant a lot to me, because you were 19 for 4. And from that position to be able to take the team to 160 or 157 and then defend that total. And, that also means a lot to me. For me, a lot of these knocks also mean a lot to me compared to that one in the NatWest final.
And then came the IPL. You had a stint with MI. We'll get to the stint with other franchises later. You started off with a bang for MI, and things were going really well at that stage. And then came that particular phase where things took a sort of a nosedive. That must have been a terrible phase, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think certainly was difficult. We also were at a very nascent stage of professional cricket in that sense, because till then it's only national and international cricket that you're playing. There is a sense of professionalism there that it entails, but it's very nation based, But here, and so loyalty is a big part of that. And I think me and Manish Pandey and Zahir Khan were the first people to be traded in so-called professional cricket, right, in the IPL. And that didn't go down easy with me. I think I was already dealing with a lot of personal issues at that point in time. And that trade, I didn't want that trade to happen, because my loyalty was completely with Mumbai Indians. And when that trade happened a month before the IPL began, it didn't sit well with me, and I didn't want the trade to happen. In fact, I refused to sign the papers. And the person in charge there said, if you don't sign the papers, trade forms, then the only chance you'll get to play in the 11 is over my dead body. And then when that was said to me, it actually impacted me in a very deep manner. I was like, if someone doesn't want me to that extent, then maybe I shouldn't be there. But at the same time, and then I signed the papers and then the trade happened. But at the same time, I was also very conflicted within, because as a 21-year or 22-year-old, you don't quite know how to deal with you being like extremely loyal to your side, to jumping ship and going to another side, and you're supposed to shift loyalties. For me, that was very challenging. It took me an entire season to feel, even though I was coming back home essentially to RCB, um, it wasn't easy for me. And it just catapulted me into clinical depression in a big way, because my first year in RCB was, for me personally, very tragic, because although I loved my 2 years with RCB, and they were very forthcoming. Like Ray Jennings was an incredible coach. I really liked him. He literally took care of me as a son there, and was very. We shared a very cordial relationship, even though he was a hard taskmaster. I really enjoyed my time with him because he called a spade, put in the work, and I really enjoyed that. He made me work hard, and I liked that part of working with him. But that part of feeling loyal to Mumbai Indians didn't go away that first season. I was very conflicted through the season. I wasn't able to find myself at all with RCB. And then that took me a year, that shift, given with everything else that I was going through personally, took me a year to kind of understand, okay, this is a part that you have to accommodate into your mind, into your heart, that this could happen again. So when it happened the second time, it didn't hit me that hard. I was like, okay, this is how it is. So when that move happened, I felt bad when I moved from RCB to Pune Warriors, because I would have loved to play for RCB. In fact, I thought I'll get retained, because in RCB, when I got traded the second year, I won the award for hitting the highest number of sixes in the IPL. I hit the most sixes that year, ahead of everybody else. And I thought I'd be retained, and I won a few matches single-handedly for RCB. So I thought I'll be retained. I'll play for my home side for a long period. But that didn't happen, and I went to Pune Warriors, and I was like, okay, I shifted quickly back into saying, okay, I need to move into this. I was still in the process of getting past my clinical depression and all that. With all of that, that first year was a transitional period, because the team was also a new franchisee finding its feet within the IPL. Then the second and third year were exceptional for me with Pune Warriors. I was in the top 3 run getters of the IPL, which worked out really great for me in my future.
Talking about your clinical depression, I'm asking you this question so that others might benefit. There are a lot of people now
Sure.
becoming aware. Now,
Yeah.
how does one recognize that he or she is having a bout of depression, or how does one reconcile to the fact that they need help? At what stage? When does it happen?
You will go through a period where you don't feel like yourself. You will go through a period where nothing brings you joy. You find yourself not being grateful for the small things you have in life that are easily taken for granted. You find yourself in a place where uh, you're looking at negatives more than you're looking at positives. And then you're in that spiral. Uh, and you'll see it. And uh, ideally, if you have really good close friends, they will see it as well. And they'll probably ask you, hey, what's going on? Ideally, that's what you want to do. And if you have friends who are empathetic to you, or have any empathy in that sense, they will notice it. And they will bring it up with you. And when they bring it up with you, I think the first step is acknowledgement, and if you feel like you're not yourself for over a period of time, could be a couple of months, and if you feel like you're not being yourself and you're feeling very down, you're feeling out, you're feeling like you're focusing more on the negatives than the positives, it's good to kind of stop and take stock of your life and see if, okay, what is going on with my life that is making me perceive everything in the negatives? What are the things that I'm actually grateful for in my life? And then start exercising those things. And if you still find yourself focusing on the negatives, then it's time to take stock and say, let me have a conversation with somebody. It could be someone who's a confidant, it could be a counselor. Ideally, it should be a counselor. And to find a good counselor is quite hard, but you might have to go through um, a few people. But if you can find someone who's clinical in that sense, where they're doing it from the perspective of wanting to help than having you keep coming back to you, that's how you kind of find a good counselor. But if you can find a confidant, for me, I had an aunt who I was able to share with, who internally kind of took my mom into confidence and shared it with my mom and said, I think we should send him to a counselor. And then I found, luckily for me, I found a good counselor. And a good counselor is someone who helps you get out of your own way to help you find solutions for yourself. A good counselor doesn't necessarily just offer solutions. A good counselor helps you get out of your own way. because the only person in the way of your own happiness is yourself, and is the reasonings or the perceptions you create for yourself that causes you grief, or that causes you that those depressed feelings. So if you find a good counselor who kind of says, asks you the right questions, pointing or pertinent questions that helps you get out of your own way and helps you get out of the blocks you created for yourself, then you reach those solutions. They actually empower you. They don't become the empowering factor of that relationship. They help you empower yourself.
Presumably, that must have been a very tough, hard grind. Now, how
It
liberating was it? How liberating was it on two counts? Basically, first, to have recognized the fact that you needed help, and secondly, to have overcome it. How liberating
uh,
was it?
it it was incredibly liberating. To be honest, it was hugely empowering, because for me to be able to feel that I had it within me, given everything that I was going through, to find solutions for myself was massive for me at that point in time. You have to understand that I was all about 21, 22 years old, 23 maybe, when I actually figured out and acknowledged to myself that I was actually depressed. And to find out that I had it in me to be able to find solutions for myself at that point in time was hugely liberating. Made me feel really confident in myself, um, and made me approach life from a place like, okay, I have confidence in myself and I can figure this out. But you have to understand, and I think I would like to say at this point that it is not a short process. It's not like taking a course of antibiotics and then you're done. An approach to mental health shouldn't be one that is saying, okay, I've given an antibiotic course for 14 days. I'll take it for 10 days because by the 10th day, I'm fine. And so the last 4 days, I don't have to do. That is the biggest mistake you can do as far as mental health is concerned. If there is a course given to you, stay the course and then some, because that is when you'll truly be empowering yourself to come out of the other side shining bright. Because if you fall short, it will come back to you. Like if you take, it's like doing a course of antibiotics. If you're given a 14-day course and you take it for 10 days, and then you say, I'm fine, 10 days, and then I don't have to do this anymore. By the 20th or 25th day, it'll come back and hit you that much harder that you will have to do a 25-day course of antibiotics. And you'll have to do a full course and then some more for you to actually recover fully and not have to deal with this issue again. It's the same thing with mental health. It's not a short form kind of format where you deal with it in the moment. It's a long form thing. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you have to understand that you have to invest time and energy into it. Some people take 6 months, some people take 6 years. So even for yourself and for people around you, you need to give them the understanding that it's a process. It's not a destination. It's a journey, and you'll get there eventually. Uh, and to be able to be patient with yourself, and for people around you to be patient with you, to be able to go through that journey as well.
Thanks, Robin. It'll be very, very useful for people, who needed to know this. And let's
Yeah.
get back to brighter things now. 2014, you had a great season with KKR. That must have been fantastic in every respect.
You know it better than better than anyone else, I'd say, because you were a part of that. And you know how it started for us. It started very bleakly for us, and then I think 5 games in, with one victory out of 5 games, and then we come to India, and then we experience one more loss, and then we suddenly are in a place where we have to win 8 in a row, and then win 9 in a row to probably go to the finals. And that is exactly what happened to us. We made it by the skin of our necks, and then to be able to go ahead and achieve victory. For me, I even that process, I had to win Gauti's confidence, for me, because it took a process, which that it took a process for me to be able to start opening the batting with Gauti in that IPL. It wasn't an easy process because I was picked on being in the team as a middle order bat, and then for me, my domestic season was so good with opening the batting, with top score, with winning the Ranji Trophy and top scoring Vijay Hazare. Confidence was very, very high. And even the few games that I got in the first 4 games, I had a couple of 50s and a couple, maybe a 30 or so. And I knew that if I got to open the batting with Gauti, we probably would have created, we probably get off to a good start. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, Gotti and Jacques at that point weren't able to get off to good starts. Gotti, poor thing, was getting out inside the first few overs itself. Um, and I probably caught him at a wrong time, in all honesty, because he was, in the throes of his own struggle at that point in time. And then I caught him on the wrong foot, perhaps. And then I had to mend those fences with him, then to be able to start opening the batting with him. And in the first game itself, I think we had a 47 of 60 run partnership. And then the second game, we had a 120 run partnership. And then from there, there was no looking back. We won 7 in a row. He and I had like incredible opening partnerships. And then it just, and I knew that he and I would always do well, because in any cricket that we open the batting together, we share that chemistry where we ran really well between the wickets, and then we always had partnerships. I remember one game in 2007 where he and I opened the batting for India A together in Darwin and Keynes, where we were playing against Australia A, we were playing for India A, and in the first innings we were all out for 120, and we had a partnership of 50 runs in that. The second innings, he and I opened the batting together. We were following on. The bowling lineup for Australia was Sean Tate, Mitchell Johnson, Stuart Clark, Shane Watson, and I think one off spinner was there, some off spinner. So we literally tackled this whole team, this bowling lineup, and we were 150 for no loss. Both of us on 75 each before rain washed out the game. So, and we ran beautifully between the wickets. Our camaraderie and that chemistry was so good. So I always knew that he and I would bat well together. So even in India, when we opened the batting together, we had great partnerships. So that confidence was also there. And I just felt with everything that Gotti was going through, he probably was a miss to that fact as well. So I knew it was a matter of opening the batting with him. And then that chemistry kind of just happened right there. It clicked and everything kind of worked. And it was a partnership that we hold good to even today. Today, like if I'm playing any Legends cricket, or with Gotti, and Gotti's playing, we're like, bro, we should play together. I like, yeah, we should play together.
Carry on, boys, carry on. Now, that must have made you very confident that you will make it to the 2015 World Cup squad. You made it to the 30, but couldn't make it to the final squad. That was disappointing, obviously.
Yeah, it certainly was, because my whole intent from 2012 or 2013, once I started getting better as far as my mental health was concerned, was I found my passion for the game again, because for 4 or 5 years I lost my passion for the game, and I think I could even say that I was playing the game for the wrong reasons, or I reached to a place where I was playing the game for the wrong reasons. But since 2012, the once I found the passion for the game again, you know that I restructured my batting completely, and I kind of went back to scratch and then built my batting up from scratch, which took me 2-3 years. It took me 12, 13, and 13, maybe midway of 13, for it to kind of form and me to feel confidence again and get my own confidence in my own batting again. So the pursuit was to the test cap, and I was like, I want to achieve the test cap and close any gap that would kind of impede me in that pursuit. And in that pursuit, I changed my technique, but it increased my consistency, but took away my aggressive flair to my game. So I couldn't be aggressive because my technique wouldn't allow me to be aggressive, because my backlift went so high to the fast bowlers. Any change of pace I would have to slow down so I became more of a timer of the ball, which was anyway a big part of my game. But the aggressive flair for my game went out. And I became extremely consistent, which I thought, had a positive impact on my game in a lot of ways. And it showed. I think the proof was in the pudding with domestic cricket. And when 2015 World Cup came around, for whatever reason, I had a lean patch immediately after the 2014 IPL. I went to Australia, with the India A side as the captain of the A side. And in that, I didn't perform at all. We had about 10, 12 games. I probably performed in a couple of games. And for some reason, I wasn't able to score runs. And that pushed me back in the pecking order altogether again. I again went back in domestic cricket and scored a lot of runs, made comebacks into the side. But again, those comebacks weren't long drawn, because I came back as a replacement. My comebacks were, I came back as a replacement for MS Dhoni when Rohit got 264. I got 2 games then. Then MS came back into the side. Then I got the Zimbabwe tour. Then again, even though I was one of only two openers, I batted at number 5, number 6, which didn't augur well for me because I scored runs as an opening batter, but when I made a comeback, I came back as a number 6, number 7 batter, which again didn't help me or my cause in making that comeback strong. And also at that point, I think I had a conversation with MS, about my chances as a captain of the Indian team. I had a conversation with him. I said, what would it take for me to perform? He's like, see, you perform, you're doing everything that you can. But you have to understand that you're pegged against Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan. Rohit is performing extremely well. At this point, Shikhar is a little up and down, but the advantage he has over you is that he's a left-hander. So it's gonna in one day cricket and white ball cricket, it's gonna be with these guys. So you might have to wait a chance and see if these guys don't perform, and if they're at the end of the line as far as backing them is concerned, then yes, certainly we'll consider you. And for whatever reason, it did not happen for me. Even when it did happen for me, or even when I did make comebacks, it wasn't at the top of the order. It came down at the middle order for me. And I think that's
Talking
something I
of World
struggled with.
Cups, talking of World Cups now, the current lot, the men in blue, are a delight to watch, isn't it?
Oh, so good to watch. It's so heartwarming to watch them perform so well. And I think as an Indian, for me, as a cricketer, for me, as a fan of Indian cricket, and just as an Indian citizen, it just makes you feel so proud that they're playing so well in every aspect of the game. Batting, bowling, fielding, the fast bowling is a delight to watch. To watch Kuldeep and Jaddu bowl the way they're bowling is a delight to watch. To know that you have the likes of an Ashwin there, ready to be used at any point in time is a delight to have. It's heartwarming, to be honest. And it's delightful to watch every game.
Does this side make you feel like the one in 2011 did? Non-negotiable winning the World Cup.
Yeah, most certainly. As it feels like it's right up there. But even that 2011 World Cup went through a couple of hiccups, went through a loss or so. And I'm a huge believer in the law of averages. Like even the 2014 IPL that we won, I felt we could win the IPL without losing another game because we'd done a chunk of losing in the start, like demoralizing defeats we had had. And that's why I felt like the law of averages also support us in having this unbelievable victory in the end. So I feel like somewhere along the way, we need that one game to kind of just mellow us down a little bit, humble us a little bit. Or otherwise, sometimes we can go into the back end of the tournament with too much confidence. And if you look at, you hearing this first from him, if you look at the way New Zealand are playing, they've mellowed down a little bit. So they are primed for a upswing again. Australia have had a slow start, and they are coming back very strong, and they are on that rise of momentum. South Africa have had their ebbs and their flows here. So these three teams will be there in the top four. Whoever we are playing in these top three, these three teams, we have to be wary of because they have found momentum now. And they don't seem like the guys, at least their personal at this point in time, don't seem like the guys who let go of momentum that they have created for themselves.
Now, I have posted you during the World Cup for you to say these things first. Why do you think I was?
Yeah.
Now, I
Oh,
see you
lovely.
figuring in the T10 tournaments. Is
Yeah.
it for fun or is it to keep the competitive streak in you going?
No, it's to keep a competitive streak in me going. I honestly believe I have a lot more cricket in me left, and I really want to play. And for me, I consider myself a student of the game. So for me, I want to play every version of the game available, and I want to play wherever I can play in the world available. Because I feel like tomorrow, at some point, when my kids are older, if I want to take up coaching, I will have some ground to stand on and say to them, say to my to the kids or to the boys I'm coaching or the girls I'm coaching, to tell them that in these conditions, this is the best way to perhaps approach your game, to give them options. And for me, I feel like I love the game so much that I feel like I'll never stop learning from the game. And the only way to be able to do that is to expose myself to different conditions. I played 16 years of IPL cricket, and I felt like I reached a point where I wasn't going to learn any more there. And I feel like I'd reached a ceiling there, and I wanted to learn a lot more. And the only other avenues for me was to do this, what I'm doing right now, or is to get into coaching. But I don't want to get into coaching at a young age where my kids are also young, and I value the time I want to spend with them. And I believe that the formative years of kids are the most important that will set them up for their lives. So I want to be able to spend that quality of time with my children, while at the same time pursuing my passion in a way where I don't miss out on that as well. And this is the only avenue left for me from a holistic point of view. So today I'm making myself available to play any leagues that will have me, T20 leagues in the world that will have me, and T10 leagues that I'm playing right now. Honestly, Legends cricket is for me something that I'm able to play with my friends again who I've grown up with. It's a great way to catch up with them and play some cricket with them that is still competitive. You know, a lot of them still play very competitively. For me, I perceive that more as playing a level of competitive cricket that's not at the highest level, but still gives you good match practice for the highest level that's available for me at this point in time. That is the T10 and the T20 leagues that are left
Now
for me
that
to
you're
play.
here, Ahmed, I would as well ask you this question. Quite a lot of
Sure.
movement out of Karnataka by playing for different states. Is it a natural progression, or is it a little bit of rancor coming into the setup? What is it?
Well, what percentage of truth do you want?
Your decision. I would prefer 100%, but I'll leave it to you.
I think a lot of talent has been mismanaged in Karnataka, and I think it's a case of taking, if I have to call a spade, and I say this with a very heavy heart. Um, uh, for whatever reason, a lot of mismanagement of incredible talent has happened in Karnataka. If you look at the kind of group that we had created till 2015, 2016, the last is 2015, 16 is when we last won the Ranji Trophy. That group, after that, disintegrated. One by one, a lot of us left. A lot of us, in fact, was made to leave in that sense. And I don't think that augurs well for Karnataka. I think a lot of people um, who were there and who were selectors kind of wielded their power in a negative manner that impacted a lot of people to just leave because it just wasn't healthy anymore, you know. And you want to play cricket for what it can bring you as a group, right? What you can create as a group. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case after a point in time in Karnataka cricket, which is why you see a lot of people leaving right now. Because even though you have talent, there is no space for that talent to thrive. You create a sense of insecurity for cricketers who have earned their spot there. And that's quite unfortunate, you know. What that tends, because even that group that we created that was successful at one, you know, trebles for Karnataka in back-to-back years. It took 6-7 years in the making. We started that process in 2008 and 2009. I remember going to Brijesh sir and saying, "Sir, give me captaincy, sir. We'll create a Ranji Trophy winning group." Because there was a lot of things culturally that had formed in that Ranji Trophy setup that wasn't conducive to winning at that level, right? You want to win the Ranji Trophy or the highest domestic championship to be able to grow, because the only way you can get, say, from a Karnataka or from a Tamil Nadu or from a Kerala or from a Saurashtra, the only way you can play for India is by winning Ranji Trophy championship, is by winning Irani Trophy championships. If you're from a Bombay, if you're from a Delhi, if you're from a Punjab, if you stack up runs and don't win Ranji Trophy, you can still play for India. Like if you get into the dynamics of Indian cricket, you will know that there are states that you can represent, and based on your performance, you play for India. And then there are states where you have to win championships to play for India, domestic championship. And Karnataka is one of those states. You can't just score runs. You have to win. Like even look at KL Rahul, Karun Nair, Manish Pandey. All these guys won championships to be able to play for India. If they hadn't won championships, they wouldn't. Today, I can take one name in the last 6-7 years who've been performing consistently for India, consistently for Karnataka, who's not no more with Karnataka, like a KV Siddha, top scores Karnataka cricket runs. Today, nowhere in the reckoning of Indian cricket. Why? Because he hasn't won a Ranji Trophy. Rohan Kundume, there and thereabouts, but will not get that look into, say, the next level. Why? Because he hasn't won a Ranji Trophy. So you have to understand these dynamics. And within these dynamics, we had created a group that understood that we have to win Ranji Trophy. With the likes of Vinay Kumar, me, Stuart Benny, Manish Pandey, the group, S. Arvind, Abhimanyu Mithun, we created a group, a core group that our primary goal was we win Ranji Trophy. irrespective of anything else. Whether we play for India or not does not matter. Our goal is to win Ranji Trophy. Create a mindset and create a group that we carry together and win Ranji Trophy. And we actually did that. And then the people in charge there, for whatever reason, which I still don't understand, started wielding the power in such a way that, for me, I think it was certain selectors started wielding the power in a way where became detrimental to Karnataka cricket. And today, you can see consistently people have left, you know, and a lot of some of them leaving or some of them being dropped from Karnataka have been justified, uh, but a lot of them haven't. Majority of them haven't been. Like to make people within the group who are core members of the group, to make them feel insecure about their spot. Imagine the insecurity you're creating amongst the whole group itself. The whole group mentality is insecurity. So if you're operating from a place of insecurity, you're working to survive. Your mindset is survival. But if you're working from a place of security, your mindset is, how do I thrive? What do I do to win? What can I do to help my team win? You will never win championships if you're operating from a place of insecurity. Why is this current Indian team thriving so much? Because there is security within that group. It's human nature, sir. If there's security within a group, you'll work to thrive, you'll work to win championships. If there's insecurity, everyone in that team will work only to survive in their spot.
Yes, that's fairly understandable, coming from you, because you've seen it all. You played for a long time. You are a part of all these triumphs. That's the reason I posed this question. Now, if you were to advise quickly to budding sports persons, what would that be?
I would say um, focus on improving your skills, get as good as you can get, um, understand the dynamics of cricket in India today, set clear goals for yourself and milestones along the way. Make sure you're focusing on achieving each milestone and you're not focusing on the eventual goal. In a gist, that's what I would say to them.
Lovely. And thanks a lot, Robin, for your time and for your forthright views. I quite enjoyed the chat. Thank you.
It's my absolute pleasure, sir.
That was Robin Uthappa giving a fair account in a very, very frank manner about what exactly is ailing Karnataka cricket, and also about various other things that he had to encounter during his career. He's spoken about the highs and lows of his career, and at no point in stage you would have felt that he was bitter about any of the things that did not go his way. That's Robin Uthappa for you. I'm sure that you would have enjoyed the conversation. And as I always mention to you people, uh, those who have been with us all through these episodes in the last 18 months or so, continue to be with us and give us your feedback so that we know what exactly it is that we need to do to get better. And for those who are joining us for the first time, please press all the buttons that there are to be pressed, like, subscribe, everything. And then try and catch up on our earlier episodes on the Sportstar handle on the YouTube. So, as I always say, until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.